A Cure for Wellness is directed by Gore Verbinski and stars Dane DeHaan as a young businessman who's sent to a wellness center to retrieve a business associate to take him back to New York to face some consequences for things that he's been involved in. And when he gets to this wellness center, he learns that there's some very sinister things going on behind the scenes, and he's not quite sure if he can leave. I really didn't know what to think about this movie going into it because the trailer was very vague, and I like that. It looked very different, and I like that as well. It's directed by Gore Verbinski, who's made a lot of really gorgeous looking movies. He's made some stinkers in the past, but he's made the Pirates of the Caribbean films, The Ring, The Weatherman with Nicolas Cage, which I find very underrated personally. And I also like Dane DeHaan a lot as an actor, so I was excited to see this movie, and I really had no idea what to expect. And leaving the film, I am kind of blown away actually for a number of reasons. This is not like a masterpiece or anything, but there is definitely something to discuss and there's something to ponder and think about when it comes to this movie. And I've been thinking about it quite a bit actually, and I think this movie's kind of special. A Cure for Wellness is a very odd movie, a movie that will most certainly make audiences cringe, and a lot of people will probably leave the theater hating this movie because it is so different and so off kilter from pretty much every other film that's out nowadays. And I really have to praise this movie for being so oddball and just so completely bonkers that the entire film feels like something we haven't seen in a while, although it is very similar to a few movies, in particular The Shining and Shutter Island. I feel like this movie is a combination of both of those films, particularly Shutter Island. Obviously, there's a lot going on under the surface at this place that Dane DeHaan uncovers as he traverses the various corridors of this very creepy wellness center. And watching him uncover this mystery is sometimes very intriguing, but there's also a lot of exposition that is commonly thrown at us as audience members throughout this movie. He encounters a lot of different characters from all different parts of this wellness center and the surrounding town, and they all tell him a different version of the same story. This very horrific past with a fire and some really effed up family stuff. And you start to piece things together as the film goes along, but there is a very maddening quality to this film that for some will actually anger them, but for me it was like a good maddening where you just wanted answers. You really wanted the film to let you in on its secrets, and it doesn't for a very long time. This is going to bother quite a bit of people, and clearly it's bothered quite a bit of critics as well, because the reviews for this movie aren't the greatest. This is something that confuses me, to be honest. There's something about modern film criticism that I just don't quite understand. Critics are constantly begging filmmakers to make movies that are original. They're always talking about superhero fatigue or action movie fatigue or the same boring, dull, bland comedies over and over again. Give us more original films, Hollywood, angry typing. And then we get one and they trash it. I don't really get that. This is a film that requires thought. It's a film that is incredibly weird. And I have to give the studio and Gore Verbinski and the screenwriter a lot of praise for cooking this story up. Yes, it has elements of things we've seen before. It's not entirely original. There are plenty of weird, institutionalized, crazy doctor movies, but there's just something so beautiful about the way he helmed this film. Every shot is immaculate. I mean, the framing is almost perfect. The editing is astoundingly good. Between this film and Split, we've already had two amazing looking movies this year. Cure for Wellness is not a great film because there are certain things holding it back, in my opinion, from being great. For one, it's extremely long. It's 2 hours and like 36 minutes, and sometimes it feels like that because it is a lot of exploration. It's a lot of weird looks, and I don't know what's going on with my life, and scenes like that. And so it does kind of drag. Also, I can see why anyone would hate this movie because it gets so weird and strange and just incredibly insane towards the third act that I kind of respected it, but I can see other people being like, this is just dumb and silly and over the top, and I liked it until this happened. I don't know. I just kind of appreciated the fact that this movie had the balls to go as different as it did, and it gave me something to think about. It gave me a movie that wasn't just the same old in the middle of this January, February season. Dane DeHaan is excellent in this movie. It's a very good performance. Jason Isaacs as an incredibly creepy doctor is also very, very good. As I already stated, the directing and editing is amazing. Like, really good. This is a fantastic looking and sounding movie. The sound design. There are so many sequences where he is on these crutches going through these very quiet, empty hallways. And just the sounds of the crutches it became unnerving after a while. There's a lot of very disturbing imagery, a la The Ring tape, which Gore Verbinski is very good at, creating a lot of cerebral, surreal images that just kind of haunt your brain. All in all, I think the film makes sense. When I sat down and really thought about it, I like it a lot, actually. I think this is a movie destined to be one of those cult classic films that a lot of people see, hate, and then small circles start to analyze it and look into the meaning of things, and then they make big 2-hour analysis videos like I've done in the past, and then somehow, some way, eventually 20 years from now, there's revival screenings of it. I think this movie's kind of special, and I think critics are missing the boat on this one. It's weird, it's different, it's strange, it requires a lot of thought, which is something that modern audience members, and unfortunately some critics, don't like anymore. I'm going to give A Cure for Wellness a B+. I would recommend seeing this movie on one specific reason alone. It's an original movie. It's not a sequel, it's not a reboot, it's not a prequel, it's not a remake, it's not a retelling, it's not an adaptation, it's not a requel boot. It's just a movie that was made up and they put it in theaters. And it's so weird and different and long, and they put it in theaters. So go see it. Go support original films. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.